there. So it saves you typing. And Yellowfin works on mobile as well. So if you are using mobile device to scan this, you will go to the right pages anyway. But we'll talk more about the Yellowfin sandbox later. I'm just seeing what else is going on. I'm just making sure that all our streams are ready. Like I say, it's the first time that we've got this bit running. I don't see my normal stream count there, so hopefully that's all live. Right, let's start off and talk more importantly about today's subject. So I'm going to share my screen and Yellowfin is not Embarcadero reviews. Oh, I see. So Yellowfin not as good as Embarcadero. And I'm just joking, but yes, they're telling me that apparently we don't get the same view count there. Oh yes, we've got some people doing. Okay, so let me share my screen, okay, and let's talk about the subject today. We are recording this as well, so if you have missed it, or you missed a start, or you can't stick around, or something like that, then don't worry, we will make sure that you get the replay as well. We're live on the Yellowfin YouTube. Okay, right. I'm just having my little production squirrels telling me everything is working fine. Good. Well, let's start with the slides because that's what we're here for. And really, the time that we're recording this and right now is just about 3/4 of the way through January 2026. And yeah, it's, if you live in the northern hemisphere, it's cold and wintry, and we've all just had Christmas, if you celebrate Christmas or Hanukkah or various other celebrations. And in the northern hemisphere, it's a bit bleak and gloomy. In the southern hemisphere, you're in the middle of summer. Boo! So you're celebrating things like Carnival, which comes up soon, I think in February in Brazil, and lots of other things as well. Greek Orthodox and Orthodox Christians celebrate Christmas on January the 7th. So it's a kind of a mixed bag, but for most people, the new financial year or the new production year, or however you want to call it, all the planning tends to go from either January or April. And in this particular instance, January is the key time where people like you and me, and I've been a developer for 40 plus years, are suddenly at the point where someone is saying to you somewhere, hey, we want some new features. They're thinking about the year ahead. They're considering the kinds of things that they want to put in the software to make some more money. AI is breathing down everybody's necks. If you're an independent software vendor or an integrator or something like that, you probably had a conversation with people about AI already. And believe me, the way things are going, it won't be the last one you have. It's a murderous situation for those that hate AI, and it's quite an exciting situation for somebody like me who's a technologist. I believe in embracing new concepts, new technologies, and AI is one of them. I've been using Claude quite a lot, and it's quite fun. But yeah, not everybody wants to dive all the way into it and code with AI. But nevertheless, you still get people saying things like, well, what features you can have in your product for this year. And sometimes when you get to those kind of post celebration, post holiday blues, one of the things is you're sitting there with your head in your hands thinking, what new features can I put in my software? And you can get some creative roadblocks coming up. There's a lot of pressure to innovate, especially now with the AI, and you can get some intense pressure for people saying, look, okay, so you added this feature, you added this cool section, and all the rest of it. But what we're really looking for is some new and groundbreaking features, that wow factor. And, you can stare at a blank screen. I've done it, in 40 plus years of software development. I have been there. I know what it's like. And, it doesn't matter how much caffeine you drink. And believe me, I drink as much as humanly possible. It isn't going to help. If you're out of ideas, you're out of ideas. And if you're unfortunate enough to have a boss, and 90% of us do, there's a lot of expectation being set by people who say AI is the thing. You know, you should have something that's innovative. If they're even not, considering AI, they're hoping to try and compete with someone who's got that new, cool, sexy AI feature. And so there's a lot of high expectations for easy future enhancements, and a lot of those, unfortunately, are quite unrealistic. As I said before, if you've watched me in other webinars, I'm an optimistic skeptic. That means I believe that AI is absolutely going to be around for the future, and it's going to be something that's very important to us. But I'm also skeptical because I have somebody probably every couple of days show me the next great thing that they've got with AI. It's part of my job to interface with other developers and vendors and tech partners, and they all want to show me something cool that they've done in AI. There's lots and lots of people doing the same thing and not doing their market research and looking into it, and lots of other people who show me something and I think this is not going to fly. People don't want it. So, high expectations, creative blocks, pressure to innovate, it can be a problem for you. So, maybe you just want to add a new feature. You've got plenty going on, and what you're really looking for as well is, do you know what? It's about time coming up to April, later on in the year, or January, like I say, tends to be the time where people do lots more new planning and lots more. How can we hook in new customers? How can we keep our current customers engaged? And adding new feature is a good way of doing it. Well, this webinar today is to talk about Yellowfin and how it can be, with almost no effort. I mean, I would be lying if there was none effort, but some minimal effort. 90% of the work is done for you already. All the heavy lifting, all the cool features, all of the mechanics, all of that kind of stuff has been done for you, and it's created in mind for people who integrate systems and also are independent software vendors, people like that. And so you're adding a new revenue stream also on top of your existing revenue stream, and not adding the expense, because if you come and talk to us, there are deals that we can do to allow you to be a reseller and things like that. But not only that, the cost involved in Yellowfin is easily recouped. Compare that to how much it's going to cost you to write, these kind of powerful features as you go along. It's also modern, and it's AI enabled, but isn't an AI feature, if that makes sense. So it is something that's got AI that ticks the box and says, well, are you going to have a new AI feature? The answer is yes, I can do an AI feature. Whoops. And yet at the same time, it is not you doing an AI feature. It's harnessing the power of AI in a way that makes sense. Also, more importantly, Yellowfin is very much designed from the ground up to be a secure system that actually works with you to enforce the current security you've got, and then help you work within that framework and within regulatory frameworks. More on that another time. I will talk about that a little bit later. But there are lots of features that make sure that the data, because that's what Yellowfin is about visualizing data and dealing with data. The data is handled in a way that is in compliance with regulations, but also works within what you've already got there. So it's almost, I know people use the phrase no-brainer quite a lot, but really it is. And that's what excites me about it. I like it. I'm a big fan of Yellowfin. I couldn't sit here and talk about products if I don't believe in them. I'm not that cynical. So it's something that I think is worthwhile. So what is Yellowfin, if you're not quite sure? Well, it's all this. Basically, it's your dashboards and presentations. It gives you some very interesting insights into what's going on. Guided NLQ sounds a bit like one of these things. What was it? NLP. I think there was it's not. It's natural language query. It's nothing to do with controlling people's minds. It allows you to ask questions of your data using natural language, but also on top of that, it will guide you into asking good questions. Because at the end of the day, when you've got AI, sometimes if you ask a bad question, you'll get a bad result. You know, AI is it's like anything. If you tell someone to make a cake but give them the wrong instructions on the kind of cake you want, they may make the perfect cake. But if you forgot to tell them you're allergic to coconut and they put coconut in it, it's a bad cake, even though it's perfect. It's the same with NLQ. If you go in there and you ask questions and they're terrible questions, and you're not very good at voicing, what it is you're looking for, it can make some assumptions, but at the end of the day, it's still going to give you the wrong thing. Well, the guided NLQ is a great feature. I like it. Allows you to get better at asking those questions. Yellowfin stories, we'll talk more about those in a minute, but also very, very interesting. Allows you to create a kind of summary document, the sort of thing that you would need to provide to middle and upper management about perhaps where your business stands financially, perhaps where you've got a marketing role or something like that, and you're trying to explain to financial people or something like that, or maybe the director of marketing, where your business stands. The stories are much more compelling than just showing a bunch of facts and figures in a table and maybe doing a cool pie chart. Pie charts can only get you so far. Yellowfin stories goes way beyond that. It makes it really come to life. And it's got some kind of unique features as well. It's a very good feature that is almost, I think it's almost unique to Yellowfin. But we'll talk about that later. And signals, finally, is probably the final slot in the jigsaw puzzle there, which is it's a bit like there's two ways you can do it. Okay, one of them is saying, hey, if my sales drop below $1,000 a month, for example, send me an alert. And so you set a little signal. You could set a thing that says, if sales less than $1,000, alert me. And it could be an email, or it could be some other way of alerting you. But Signals goes a bit beyond that, because you can also create AI related signals that will actually work out some of the details for you. So you can be a little bit less specific. Instead of saying, well, if this figure goes below this figure, you can go beyond that and actually say, if my profitability is worse than I expected, warn me. Or even better, the good news, if my profitability is better than I expected, then warn me. So it's a similar situation, but it's less generic. It's a less formulaic way of doing things, and you can do both with Signals, but it's a great feature of it. And that's kind of what Yellowfin really does specialize in. So, because I'm talking to you as people who develop software, and primarily, either you're software developers who develop an end user solution, or you are integrators, and so you perhaps buy in someone else's software, or you paid someone to write software for you, and then you add into that software some additional value. That's really what an integrator tends to do. Or perhaps you're more holistic than that, and you're selling an entire suite of software. So it could be you sell the CRM system, the customer relations management system, and their marketing system, and their factory management system, or something like that. And you want to add into that the ability to do some really impressive visualizations that allow people to make good decisions. Then Yellowfin that's what it's there for. The benefit is you can make them have all that without having to go out to something crazy like Excel or some weird nonsense like that. If it's your own software, you can actually embed it in your software. I'll talk more about that in a moment, how you can specifically do that. You can use JavaScript, you can use web pages with it embedded in. You can use Delphi, my favorite language, of course, and Java, I think, and a few others as well. Rob will expound a bit more later when we have him live during the Q&A. But it gives you the ability to interrogate the data, not just report on it using some formulas, but actually ask it questions. A bit like that famous "Where were you on Friday?" It's kind of like the Inspector Clouseau of data. It allows you to view it, see what's going on, and you can drill down to the actual data as well. So you can actually get down to the aggregate data, and then down to the minutiae of the data if you really want to, the data rows and things like that. But it also allows you to visualize it and view it in a way that is more consumable. So lots of different charts, lots of different heat maps. You can map out things on actual maps. So you could show, I don't know, regional sales across United States, for example, and you would find out that maybe Chicago is your best place for selling one type of widget, and Dallas, where I'm based, is perhaps your worst region for selling a particular widget. And you can then use Yellowfin to make some decisions and act on that data. And you can share it with other people within your organization or in your customers' organization, and they can act on that data too. So you could say, well, actually, the reason that we're not selling many widgets in Dallas is because our advertising budget is a lot lower and we're not advertising quite so heavily in Dallas. Or it could just be that you are a store, a physical premises or something like that, and your nearest store in Dallas is actually down in Houston, which is a good 5-hour drive away. So that's why people aren't coming in. Even though Dallas has got several million people living here, then most of them are probably not going to drive down to Houston just to view your stuff unless it was amazing. That would mean that you need to either, if you see a demand for people from Dallas looking at your products but not buying them, or you're not converting those sales, then you can use Yellowfin to help you make those kinds of decisions. And don't forget, it's not just you, it could be your end customer, your end user. And that's the important thing here. So what are some of the other things that are good about Yellowfin? Multi-tenancy. So maybe you've got more than one end user, or maybe you have different branches and you want to keep those branches separate. So, for example, if I was to go back to Texas again, you may say that you're a company that operates in the whole of Texas, but you want to keep the Dallas data separate from the Houston data, or perhaps you are across the United States and you have reasons why you cannot share data across state lines, for example. Or it could be that you have end users or customers that are in different sovereign domains, like, for example, people in Europe, people in the UK, people in the United States, and you want to keep that data in one place, but have it completely separated off. So they're multiple tenants. The tenancy is an interesting word, but what it really is saying is you're making sure that each one of those people is completely separate. But for you at the back end, you're still managing the whole thing in one place or one reachable instance. It can be multiple instances, but you can handle the laws. For example, the lots and lots of European laws come in about data handling this year, and some significant ones in the United States as well. And multi-tenancy will help you achieve that kind of compliance, that separation. More important as well, to make sure that you're actually, able to prove that you complied with those laws and track when something does go right or wrong. Someone goes and shares some data they shouldn't because they, I don't know, take screenshots. I don't know what it would be, but someone blabs some information they're not supposed to have released to the general public or a competitor or something. With audit logging, you can go back and say, who on earth was it that looked at this particular data? It also allows you to do multiple other things as well, but audit logging also allows you to understand when something happened and why it happened and who did it. White labeling, very, very useful, allows you to take the product, basically remove everything that says Yellowfin, and then it becomes your solution. And we have people that specialize at Yellowfin in that, in enabling you to really sell this product or have this product incorporated and make it look like you created it. You want to walk on water and make everybody think you're amazing and some kind of magician or something like that. There you go. White labeling will help you do that. You can actually make it your own and completely remove all evidence, shall we say, of Yellowfin. It might be that you don't want people to know that you're using Yellowfin because you don't want your competitors to look at that cool feature that you put in, and you don't want them to give any hint whatsoever how you're doing this trick. Security I've already mentioned, but there's a lot to do with it. The security is phenomenally powerful, and you could do a whole webinar just about security. And in fact, we have got a webinar coming up, I think, later on, probably in February, with some partners about security and the various laws and regulations as well, to make sure that we're covering all the bases. It's a big thing. If you've not come across things like SCA, SBOM, and DORA, and all these other acts, welcome to the bad news. It's going to happen to you because it's happening to everybody else. It is going to be a big thing. I'm not trying to create fear and uncertainty and doubt, FUD. It's a fact. Security is going to be something significant for you if it isn't already. Certainly, most Europeans I speak to are it's a big problem for them as software vendors. So, you can be kind of comfortable that if you add Yellowfin into the mix, it's kind of security first. It really does lean towards it. It's a mature product, and they've been through most of the regulations and most of the hoops, and they have some very, very big customers where they really put the screws down on us and make sure that the security is rock solid and fit for the purpose. Data source substitution, we'll talk about that, but basically you can fiddle around and make the data come from multiple places, and also extract it and have it in memory. And there's a whole webinar coming up about that topic, which is good because it'll explain it a bit more to me as well. But all I know is it's a cool thing. And scalability. Yeah, this is something that's made for everything from the kind of medium-sized, small to medium-sized enterprises, right up to big blue chip, listed on the stock exchange kind of companies. This is not a small product. It can start off small, and it will work. If you are a one sort of location organization, it's going to work for you. But if you do, as you grow, and you're looking for this BI solution, then Yellowfin is there. It's scalable for it. And I already mentioned before the AI integration. It'll link out to various types of AI provider. You're in control of that. It's not on by default. It's turned off by default, and you enable it. But once you enable it, it's not some kind of fancy, oh, cool, now it draws, a picture for you instead of you doing it by hand. No, it's way more than that. It helps you actually use the product and get the best out of it without actually being intrusive. It's not something we're trying to shoehorn in. It's not something we've added as a feature to make everybody go, yep, AI, tick. No, it's there because it genuinely adds an extra dimension to it, and that's what's important. So let's just talk about some of the things you get. The dashboards and reports, very visually appealing. They are absolutely gorgeous. And I've got a couple of images there which are difficult to see unless you've got a fairly large resolution. So if you're watching this on a like a small mobile device, you might want to watch the replay later on YouTube. When you get to the sandbox, which we'll talk about in a moment, the sandbox actually has. Let me just put the sandbox up there in the left-hand corner. If you scan that, it will actually take you to the sandbox. I'm going to show it a bit later, okay? But the sandbox will, sorry about the flashing going on there. The sandbox will show you what some of the visualizations look like. I believe we've had a little bit of an issue with the sandbox. Let me just check with my little web squirrels. Mr. Web Squirrel, if you can let me know what's happening with that sandbox. We had a naughty person who was trying to spam us, as you do, and they were trying to create lots and lots and lots of different logins to cause us some grief. Right, let me just go back. Sorry about the slideshow thing there. Let me just go back to navigation there. So the dashboards and the reports, they're absolutely gorgeous, and sometimes people will say, well, I can do that in I can, if you're a Delphi person, I could use T-chart. C++ people use T-chart. No, not really. I mean, if you try the sandbox, you'll find out that some of these visualizations, which are actually quite complex, take seconds to do. And you can even use the AI to make suggestions, and changing from one type of a visualization to another is literally a click. It's dead easy. And you can see there the screen that's showing on the left there. That's actually, I think that, I could be wrong, but that looks like it's white labeled, and that's got a number of visualizations and a dashboard in it. It looks great. So, try it for yourself. That's the best way. I can sit here and show you visualizations till the cows come home. It's only until you actually, try it yourself, you'll see what it does. And more importantly is this. This is the thing I was talking about early on, which is the guided NLQ, natural language queries, except you don't have to get it right by asking the right questions. The guided NLQ will help you ask the questions by guiding you through what it thinks a good next choice will be. That's probably the best way of putting it. So as you can see there, as the person types in, ask a question, it will say compare the sales for the segment for this particular product category, whiskies to vodkas, and do it by month after the 10th of January 2020, and it produces it instantly. It's as easy as that. And it does mean that your end users, if they're using the guided NLQ, don't have to be SQL experts. So they don't have to sit there and say, select all from such and such group by having this, which is how many products out there do it. They also don't have to go, well, what should I ask the AI to make it give me the data? No, you don't need to do that. It's doing all the power of natural language querying, but it's actually helping you get to that point as well. So novice users and many people in your end users' offices will not admit it, but they tend not to be computer experts, of course. Otherwise, they wouldn't need you, right? And so literally saying to someone, well, we can set you up a query or something like that is a problem. It terrifies some people. But also some people just say, look, I don't want to learn. I don't want to be a data expert. That's what I'm paying you guys to do. And it's a fair point. Well, guided NLQ actually can allow you to give your user the ability to create some of those queries and visualizations themselves. We've got a whole university called Yellowfin University. It tells you much more about all the features in there as well and what you can do. And the same with my number one favorite feature is Yellowfin Stories. Yellowfin Stories is kind of difficult to describe without making it sound too simple. Yellowfin Stories are a bit like an automated blog post or report, except that's really doing it a disservice. What it allows you to do is to put together written and pictorial explanations of something. So let's say you're doing a quarterly report or an annual report or even a monthly report, and it's a sales analysis and you want breakdowns in there. I personally have to do these every so often, like weekly, I think, for some of them. And it's a struggle, and there are lots of source data in there coming from all over the place. It could be, for example, if someone's judging me, how many people are watching on YouTube, and if you are watching on YouTube, click on the subscribe button. It won't give me any money, and I won't know who you are. But the next time we do something about Yellowfin and show you some other features, if you click on subscribe, YouTube will notify you. It's the safest way of doing it. We have no idea who you are. I think we know roughly what country you're in, but not exactly. And you won't get extra emails from us if that's what you're wanting to avoid. So subscribe buttons are useful. So yes, Yellowfin Stories, it is the perfect way to produce one of those reports. And like I say, for me, it tends to be how many people have watched a YouTube video, what countries they were from, how many people clicked on a particular link. It could be, something completely different for, say, a garden centre that's selling plants. You might want to know how many deciduous plants you've sold, how many plants have you got left in stock that are seasonal. And therefore, if you're coming to the middle of a season, you want to start discounting those plants. because nobody's going to buy, winter foliage plants when you're just about coming up to spring. That's when you start looking at spring plants and thinking about long-term summer plants. And if you're in Texas, drought-resistant plants. And if it's this Saturday, snow and ice-resistant plants. But again, that's what yellowfin stories are for. It's a beautiful feature. I love it. One of my favorite ones. And finally, we talked a bit about the signals, the notifications, and you've got to remember as well that Yellowfin works on a desktop, works on the web, works embedded in your apps, and it also works on mobile as well. So, as I said before, with signals, which I think are really fantastic, they allow you to continuously monitor something and then let you know, hey, you're suddenly made £1 million or $1 million or €1 million. For example, it'd be a great day. You want to know, right? Because you're going to go out and celebrate. Or it could be, your sales have dropped below a certain margin. Time to go back and instantly do something to try and fix it. So that's what signals are for. Bit like notifications, except on steroids. And we're getting towards the end, but let's just talk very much about the fact that it is built by developers for developers. So the people that are watching this, you should remember that we kind of get it. Majority of the people that you will talk to who are well, I think we call them customer success. We also call them I forget. Rob will tell us some of the names they have on them. Basically, they're people that help you get to where you need to go. They're gonna be people that understand this problem because that's the background they come from. It's low code. You've got APIs that work with REST, SOAP. We've got a JavaScript API. You can embed it with an embed link. There's every single possible way you can think of. And although I'm normally talking about Delphi and I'm normally talking about C++ Builder, it's important to understand that this also works for absolutely everything as well. So apparently some people use a language called JavaScript. I'm sure it's only a few dozen handful people, but apparently JavaScript's popular. And I've heard others use Java, and even though they should be using Delphi, of course. But the API is there. It's going to work for you and do exactly what you want. REST, SOAP, and JavaScript APIs, as I just mentioned, gets the thing embedded into your product. It really works on the principle of tokens. If you've used any kind of APIs, you're probably familiar with that kind of idea as well. And of course, if you do that, the other important thing is once you embed it into your product, you can white label it as well. And so you can restyle basically pretty much everything you can see. So a system login page, system header, system footer, the images, the CSS, or all of that stuff is customizable. You can style the reports, you can style the charts, and you can style the dashboards. And for some reason, my dog's barking. I don't know quite why that is. Hey, Bob, never ever barks. Sorry about this, everyone. The powers of live broadcasting mean that my dog, who is always the best trained office dog and never makes any fuss, suddenly just started to randomly bark. We are in the process of having a very bad storm arrive, and I think he's not very happy about it. Anyway, so white labeling, everything can be styled. Honestly, there's no excuse. If you're an independent software vendor and you want to add that extra feature, you're getting to the end of the financial year, and you're searching for what are we going to do next. You've covered every cool feature of your own that you can think of. This is one you can put into your product. So if you develop CRM software, if you develop accounting software, if you develop HR software, these are all the kind of things that you can actually benefit from embedding Yellowfin in, and it's dead easy. And we're so confident about it as well, is you can go and try it on a sandbox. Now, the Yellowfin sandbox is a fully working playground. And what it allows you to do is if you go in and you scan that QR code, or you just go to sandbox.yellowfinbi.com, it does have a login, and actually we're in the middle of putting a capture code on there because we've got some naughty who's trying to spam us at the moment. But if you go in there, there's it's basically an instance of Yellowfin that you can play with. You can see the kind of things it can do. You can create some visualizations. There's some, I think they call it synthesized data there. So fake data is another way of putting it. And have a good play. You do need to create a login, you know, and you'll get a link back. It generates a kind of fake customer number for you, so you'll get the full experience of what someone would get if they were using your instance of Yellowfin. And don't forget, although it's got Yellowfin written all over it, you could have all that saying your product instead. Very, very useful. So I got some other you know, codes and things like that, but I think for now what we're going to do is go back and back to the studio. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second and go into here. Sorry about my dog. He never, ever, ever causes any fuss. I don't know what on earth has got into him. He's 14 this year. I think he's losing his marbles a little bit. Okay, so we actually have some comments, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring along one of my colleagues, and that is Rob Jones, and he can we can talk about the questions because I've got some good answers already, but Rob may have some more. So Rob, how are you? How's it going? I'm going to do this because it looks cooler to do it that way.
Yeah, I'm not really sitting in a room with a blank wall behind me, but the mess behind me is not fit for public consumption. So.
Yeah, you mentioned someone. You have the decorators in, literally. Some people doing some work in the background, I think, as well. So.
Yeah, we're having a new bathroom put in, but fortunately they've just finished. That was earlier when we were talking, so we're okay.
Oh, you know, in Texas we just go out to the pond and we wash there. So.
once a year or so. Is that the?
Yeah, I don't know what got into my dog. All of a sudden he started barking just randomly at the window, and he never ever does that. He's a very well trained office dog. He just chills out. So I'm guessing we are expecting a very bad snowstorm. They're saying like Armageddon. So happy days. So there are a couple of questions that came up, and I'm going to put them on the screen. So this one, I'm guessing this person is feeling a little bit skeptical, which I get, and that's fine. You know, if you're, I agree with what he's saying, because although he's trying to say it's something negative for one of the other questions, I'm going to explain why I actually don't think it's negative at all. So with all the work done for you, back in the day, professionals actually did the work without all this hand-holding. Next, AI and robots can do the work for you. Yes. But let's face facts, okay? It doesn't matter if you like AI or don't like AI, okay? You don't have to use any of the AI features of Yellowfin. It will work perfectly well without them, correct? I'm not imagining that, am I, Rob?
No, I mean, it depends how you look at it. I don't think you need to worry anytime soon about AI doing all of the work for you. There's still plenty of QA of the work that the robots do for on your behalf.
Yeah.
Certainly, they can be very useful. I mean, I'm a solution architect. I haven't done coding for a very long time, but recently I've been trying to build Yellowfin applications using AngularJS, as it happens, just picking one, not quite at random, but we've got quite a few customers who are using that. You can also embed Yellowfin in all kinds of applications, but you know, I find the AI is fantastically useful in you know, when you can't answer a question, ask it, and you've got to be a bit careful about how you use it and make sure that it's really doing what you want it to. But you know, it's it's a valuable tool.
Yeah, I think this user is a little bit skeptical. I get it. He's like, oh, you're just selling stuff that means people don't have to do the work for you. Exactly the point. This is what I'm saying is, if you don't like that, don't buy it. I mean, but or sell it, because you can actually do a reseller deal and things like that. But it's not about whether you don't want to do the work for you. Why would you spend 2 years, let's say it's 2 years worth of work, okay, to create something like Yellowfin? And I actually know someone that's got a visualization product that they sell, and they've actually had 10 people working on it for 18 months. And it's great, it looks lovely, and it fulfills the purpose but it doesn't get anywhere near what Yellowfin can do. So you could go off and do all of this yourself. That's the same as saying, why would I go and make, buy ready-made bread? I could make all the bread myself. Yes. And your bread might taste better than anything you could buy in the shop, maybe. But at the end of the day, do you really want to get up at 5 a.m. every day and make some bread just because you want to have good bread? Yes, some people will do that. But the majority of people go, no, I'll go to the baker's or the store that I think sells the bread I like at a price I can afford, and let them do the work for me. And that's the same with this. Why would you go off and code a load of, if you were capable, code a load of visualizations and all that kind of management and stuff and things like that behind the scenes when it's already done for you? And that's the answer. I get that life is a gift is skeptical, but saying developers, I mean, they've got a few, like, developers actually develop, not the software tools. No, I am a developer. And if you're using Delphi, for example, are you telling me that you wrote every single component that you've got in your applications from scratch? No, of course not. And if you did, why? Why would you write the equivalent of T-chart? Why would you write a combo box? Why would you write a FireDAC query handling tool? When you've got FireDAC in it, why, if it's JavaScript, do you really sit there in Notepad and type all the code in Notepad? No, of course you don't. You use tools that help you. And I get it. You're skeptical, but that's not, it's not correct. And someone commenting on my dog saying, "Oh, then it really is a barker." Yes, my dog is a barker. Yes, unfortunately. Okay, so Rob, what when it comes to the customers that are watching this, who are independent software vendors, so they've got their own software, what kind of deals, I don't mean money wise, I mean, what kind of arrangements can they have? Can they be like someone who just buys Yellowfin, integrates it in their software, and then they sell it that way? Can they be people that sell it on and maybe get commission? Can they be people that train up and then become some kind of like Yellowfin expert and say, "Oh, you want to use Yellowfin? We'll come and use your Yellowfin instance and embed it in our software." Are those all valid scenarios, or?
Yes, they are. I've certainly come across all of those kinds of arrangements. From a commercial perspective, I mean, it's not my role in particularly, but just picking up on what I've heard the commercial guys talking over the years, we can share it, because the key word is flexibility. And I've been on the other side of the fence too, trying to buy software, and flexibility. Sometimes people love it and sometimes people hate it. It's sort of, and there are pros and cons. So I mean, there is a price list. You can ask, what is the list price? Not many people pay it, let's be honest, but it's there as a starting point for negotiations of various sorts. But the reason that not many people pay it is that we deal with, particularly when you're dealing with ISVs, so companies who want to embed Yellowfin and incorporate it into their products one way or another. Yellowfin and Idera more generally tends to try to be very accommodating of their business model. So if you're charging a price per user, then we can probably work something out about how we can also charge a price per user. If you're charging a price per for your customer, and that customer actually has 20 people who use it once a month or something, and you charge them a flat fee, we can probably come up with a flat fee that that works for both of us. As long as there's enough scale, many different models can be made to work. We sometimes do a percentage, so a profit sharing thing where if you sell Yellowfin module, module based on Yellowfin, we might take a percentage of what you're selling that module to the customer for. So all sorts of things are possible. And I think, as you mentioned earlier, the way that you use it, very often we will see customers who are using it perhaps both internally for reporting on their own business, but also then embedding it into their applications and sharing it out with their customers. And sometimes someone will buy it and use it for their internal reporting to start with, and then once they realize what it can do, they think, wow, actually we need to share this capability with the customers. And it's a great way of helping to make your applications stickier. If you do the analytics for your end customers, they're much less likely to walk away from your product because they can't necessarily get those analytics from your competitors. And obviously, the better job you do of providing the right analytics, the stickier it becomes. And that's obviously a reason for using any product to do embedded BI. Yellowfin's great because it actually does the job. It's interesting when when we talk about 90% of the work is done for you. Well, obviously that rather depends how many of the features you're using. If you use all of the Yellowfin features, then almost probably even more than 90%. In a typical deployment, in a really minimal deployment, if you just deploy or embed one chart, well, okay, that's probably not 90% of the work for you. That's probably more like 50% of the work for you. But if you then want to schedule or refresh that report and send, publish out PDFs to customers on a weekly or daily basis or something of that sort, all of that scheduling capability is already written in Yellowfin. It'd be a pain to try and write that yourself. You could do it probably if you're a good coder, but it would take you a lot of work, a lot of time, and cost a lot of money, which as David said earlier, why don't you just get it from somebody who's done it before?
Exactly, and that's the point. Is why work harder than you need to? I think I'm trying to say in a nice way, don't work too hard, get this done for you, and it solves the problem. So without saying be lazy, but that's really what it is. I think the person in the chat, like I say, it's a little bit cynical, but I get it. I mean, I'm a developer, and look, I'm not a young man, and I've been a developer for over 40 years, literally, and I've seen everything. I've seen the advent of the internet. I actually remember the IBM PC being introduced, and I was a COBOL coder, and I was a Unix expert, and I've written kernel level code in C and stuff like that. I understand, hardware at a very low level from having been around in those times, because you had to. If you wanted a PC, you built it yourself, and I remember the internet coming along. I remember all of those things, and not right now. AI is that, I feel, exactly the same point in time. I think that AI is it's not going away, and yes, it is going to change things. And yes, you could argue that the internet brought Amazon, and Amazon have put a lot of small businesses to the wall, or they've moved on to Amazon's platform and use Amazon to sell. But it's also meant that lots more people out there can sell via Amazon, for example, or even have their own online shops. There are people, Walker's Crisps, which to most other countries apart from the UK, and two Brits talking, Walker's Crisps are some of the best crisps in the world, and I really like Marmite crisps. So being able to get those, I know when I order those, it's some person in Leeds or something is fulfilling those on Amazon. That's the enablement that kind of change has brought about. The same is happening with AI. It's going to enable some roles and be a problem for others. But Yellowfin's use of it is, I think, probably much more realistic and less painful, than you otherwise might think. So I'm just going to turn that QR code off. So I've discovered that our little this is our first webinar we've done for Yellowfin via Restream, and so a couple of little things like Apparently streaming to YouTube thing was a little bit of a blip. Nobody could actually set up a stream key. And then the background here, we've noticed that QR codes that are white on a white background, not so great. So yeah, we'll learn from these, and next one we won't have that problem. I think that's it that we've got from the live questions, but you can see that people are scanning the QR code because that little message comes up. So we know people are going to it. With all of these webinars, what we intend to do is give this kind of experience where we'll have someone like Rob along who knows a lot more about the product than I do, is going to be able to demonstrate it. And we'll have this much more TV-like interface and much more relaxed. I don't use a script ever. And that's a good thing and a bad thing. A bad thing means sometimes I talk nonsense. Get used to it. It's going to happen. But sometimes I think it gives a much more genuine set of information to people than you do just reading a script, like it's some kind of Shakespeare play, And next time, I think we're going to have a webinar with some partners, but we're going to do monthly webinars like this. So Rob will probably be coming back in the future as well. We're going to show some more features in depth. We're going to have a session on data security and optimizing how you do data handling. We've only scratched the surface. Today was really just a kind of introduction to the concept of you being able to make money yourself as an independent vendor for embedding Yellowfin in your own product. It's very easy to do. I didn't show it, but I can briefly share my screen for a second. Let me just do that. I think I can do that. This here is, I think I can still get Rob and I on as well. Yeah, there you go. So this is a Delphi program. It is available on the internet. And basically, it uses the Yellowfin REST API. So for those of you that know what, whoops, right screen. Those of you that are familiar with Delphi, but this could be JavaScript, this could be Java, it could be, in some other IDE instead of Rad Studio. But here is the familiar VCL screen. There is actually a FireMonkey version as well, things like that. But in here would appear all your Yellowfin things. So across the left here are some features of Yellowfin, and then embedded in here would appear Yellowfin. Now, I only had this set up this morning, so I haven't actually gone through, but all the code is set up for you, and it's actually very well written. I hate to say it because it was my colleague Stephen Paul that worked on it, and I want to be able to say it could be better, but actually he's done a very good job. And it will, do some things like load the frame in. It uses frames, and then send REST requests across that. And so access tokens, for those of you that understand coding and what they are, they're in there. It's easy. The code itself, as you can see, not difficult. And the same is true of JavaScript. The same is true of Java as well. Very, very easy code. Embedding it in your application is absolutely simplistic in some ways. Even if you get to the point where you need to learn more about it, that's not a problem because, like I say, there's a whole comprehensive set of information on the website. And if I put that up now, this is the sandbox. But here are the examples on the internet. So go to github.com, Delphi a ball, Yellowfin-Delphi.rest. For those of you that understand that. But it's all, available on the internet. But more importantly, if you've already scanned it or you're going to scan it, you can go to Yellowfin Sandbox here and log in, and try and do that now, risking myself, given that they were saying we've got some spammers. Hello, computer.
I think you are right, Ian. I think we are currently probably still suffering from those spammers.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, then maybe I can't do anything about it. So, the general principle is you could go to the sandbox and have a look at it there. It's a bit of a shame. We'll have to work that one out in the future. Put a code in there. So that's it. I just wanted to, do a brief intro and off the cuff kind of thing to take you through it. Why I like Yellowfin. Future webinars, we're going to do these monthly from now on. It'll be exactly the same format, except we'll cover some different topics and things like that. If you go to Yellowfin BI, which you can see on the screen, just take off the word sandbox and put in yellowfinbi.com, go there, and it will tell you everything you need to know about it. Why is there an Ultra Edit logo in the top left-hand corner there? What's that all about? That's a bit weird, isn't it? Go away, Ultra Edit. That's very strange. Yeah, I think, like I say, a few teething problems. They nearly didn't get the stream ready in time this morning because of the hackers, crackers, or whatever you want to call them, spammers as well. Anyway, Rob, is there anything you want to say before we go?
Well, tune in next month and we'll bring you some more more excitement.
Back again. It won't always be a couple of British accents. It's just luck. Technically, I am an American, but I've lived here 17 years and I still sound like this. So I've helped everybody pronounce the word Delphi as Delphi instead of Delphi. So I feel like I've contributed my contribution to the Delphi community now.
And you've educated them about what crisps are as well. Well, actually, I don't know if you did.
No, I just said there's not my crisps. Yeah, Americans know what crisps are. Well, at least I hope they do. It's chips, everybody, and chips are not chips for Brits. So and don't get me started on biscuits and cookies, because biscuits are like scones here. No, it's wrong. It's just not right. It's and clotted cream. They think there's something wrong with it. Like, it's lovely. It's English clotted cream, Devon clotted cream, best in the world by far. So there you go. If we start on that, we'll start talking about the weather and all sorts. You know that, Rob.
I actually got a box of scones with some clotted cream randomly through the post today. I'm looking forward to eating them after this.
That's just not fair. They sell it here. I'm not kidding you. One jar, and it was tiny. It was like this size. Was $17. I'm like, what? It's more expensive than like beef or something like that. It was absolutely astounding.
Mind you, it's almost that expensive here, and it hasn't had to go all the way to you. So,
yeah,
you're going like it depends how big your fingers are, but
I get, it's one of those things, isn't it? Not very big, put it that way. It was smaller than a teacup, so yeah, it's very very frustrating, but yeah, it is what it is. They don't understand meat flavored crisps here as well. So if you have Bovril crisps, for example, or chicken crisps, or no, it just doesn't exist in the United States. It's an absolute tragedy. They do some Mexican chips have meat flavorings, but it's unusual. So, yeah. Okay, all right. Well, thanks a lot, Rob. As I told you, we'd start talking nonsense about British stuff. It's all good. Thanks for coming on. We will be pushing these a lot more, and as Rob said, we are back monthly from now on. And it won't always be Rob, but quite often will be, I suspect. And we've got some kind of themes that we're going to head for. This one was specifically if you are thinking about integrating software, or you're looking for a new feature to put in your software with no effort. Even though our poor person in the chat window's like, oh, I think that's just, life should be difficult. You should do it the hard way. Okay, yeah, I get it. I like coding. I like sitting there and typing out code. But if you feel like you'd rather actually put a massive new feature into your product with virtually no effort, it's very, very easy to do, then come and talk to Yellowfin and yellowfinbi.com, and that's the place to be to get it running. Thanks a lot, Rob.
Oh, excuse me. Yes.
Yes. Well, it's winter, isn't it? So there you go.
Yes.
All right. All right. Well, I'll say goodbye to you then, Rob. Bye-bye.
Hope you don't get buried by that snow, Ian.
5 to 8 inches. It'll be chaos. In Dallas, we don't understand rain, let alone snow. Snow just doesn't compute. I'm not kidding you. 2 days ago, I was standing outside in a t-shirt in the middle of January, and this Saturday it's going to be the coldest it's been for years. So, and last time was 5 years ago when we had an ice storm. They get 3 inches of ice on the power cables, and we had power cuts for a week. So, yeah, it's but the summer's nice. So, all right, speak to you soon. Cheers.
Cheers.
All right, well, that was Rob, and I guess I can probably hide my super massive QR code. Excuse me. When we come back next time, we'll be a bit more polished, and we will have sorted out the what's going on with Sandbox. Isn't it just typical that we go, oh, let's have a webinar with Sandbox on it, and blow me down if someone doesn't try and spam the Sandbox. So I believe they're putting a capture on, you know, one of these things that says click all the traffic lights or whatever in the image. So it won't be quite as problematic. And also, I'll find out why my dog's barking randomly. He never barks. He's such a good dog. He normally just sits in the background and buys Spock or something and behaves himself. But anyway, thanks to those that you joined us, and I will see you next time. Oh, Nigel says, hello, Ian. What have I missed? Nigel, you'll have to watch the replay because I'm literally finishing up now. All about Yellowfin, embedding it in your own software. Nigel, I know what your software is because you communicate with me a lot, and you need to watch the replay of this. It'll be on the Embarcadero YouTube channel and the Yellowfin one, and I think on LinkedIn and a few other places as well. Watch it because it's dead easy for you to add this feature to your software, you, Nigel, specifically. So it's worth having a look. But what was I going to say? I got distracted. Yes, so we will be back monthly from now on, and maybe more regularly. It depends on how these things take off. But until then, I want to say a thank you to Rob for turning up. Thank you to my web squirrels. We had issues with stream keys and all sorts before we started. So this was a bit of a kind of learning experience for us. We've discovered that the choice of white font for the background is not so great. And Nigel is saying he's now going to go and check it out. I have my followers to see. And also, you know, we've got a few learning experiences, I think, with things like the Sandbox, making sure there's a capture on there. I don't think we expected anybody to spam it like they are, but they're trying to hammer it as best they can. These things happen. But until then, I will see you next time, and with some guests and some interesting topics. And I'll be back, I think, on February the 6th. For those of you that follow Embarcadero, if you're watching on YouTube, click on the subscribe button. I don't care about the likes. If you like it, great. Click on like. But if you're on the Yellowfin YouTube channel or the Embarcadero YouTube channel, click on subscribe. I won't know who you are. I won't be able to spam you. We will not be able to send you random emails or, you know, raid your bank account, unfortunately, or anything like that. But what will happen is YouTube will send a notification the next time we go live. So if you miss the email, if it goes into your spam folder or something like that, YouTube will let you know, hey, Yellowfin, Embarcadero, whoever are going live, and then you won't miss a thing. Some of the ones we've got coming up are still under discussion, so sometimes we might do some of these things ad hoc, particularly if there's an event we go to. This year there are 800 plus events, I think, in the tech industry. We've got a calendar that's coming out that will list all of those, and some of them we will actually be exhibiting in Yellowfin and Embarcadero and other IDEA companies. So you know, we may turn up and randomly have a chat at one of those things and just stream it live to YouTube. We're going to use YouTube a lot more, and we're going to use this platform Restream much more heavily as well. So hopefully you know, you'll get used to it. The chat window is an integrated chat, so wherever you're typing, if you're watching on LinkedIn right now, subscribe on LinkedIn as well. The chat questions that you put in LinkedIn actually come through to me here in the studio. So do the YouTube ones, so do Meta Live, so Instagram and Facebook, I think. They all come through. So I will hear you. And we do try and respond to that. I'm not going to be horrible. If there's something you don't like and you put it in the chat, I will try and address it. If you genuinely think that we're doing, as Life is a Gift said, you know, you think we're doing something that you disagree with, I get it. You know, we're not going to be for everyone. That's fine. But what you will do is you will get responses from us, and we'll treat you with respect, and we'll treat you with the kind of integrity and dignity that you expect. Yellowfin is not a company that is a faceless black box. There are real people behind the scenes who actually care, and they do want you to get the best out of it, because if you succeed, particularly if you're an independent software vendor, then we succeed. If you fail because of us, then we're going to fail as well. It's a joint exercise. It's not like we're selling you a sandwich or something like that. This is an ongoing relationship, and it's very important to remember that we need you to keep working with us, and you need us to keep working with you as well. So I'm being told by one of the web squirrels in the background that they are working on the capture. So hopefully that will happen, because they were going to measure how successful it was by a number of people that signed up to the sandbox, but apparently the sandbox is struggling because of this spammer. Anyway, enough from me. I'll see you again next time. Thanks for joining me. And there is a replay as well. Catch us next time. And February the 6th, if not before, about automated security scanning, SCA, SBOM, DORA Act, not the Explorer, an actual legal framework, and ECT, I think, is another one. There's lots of acronyms around for